Jorge. Been a hot minute. I mean, not really, but it feels like it. I did not do a monthly reading wrap-up last month. I had finals, and then I went home, and then I had more finals, and it all kind of got away from me. And then another month passed, and now here we are. So we're gonna do what we did last time I did this, which was I'm gonna do March and I'm gonna do April in one fun little like chunk. So I'm not sure how many books is entailed in 2 months, but I think it's a lot. So buckle in, make some tea, get ready to party, because we're about to go, starting with the month of March. So starting strong, I read The Extraordinary Education of Nicholas Benedict by Trenton Lee Stewart. Definitely gonna be one of my favorites for the year. I have been reading The Mysterious Benedict Society, and this is like a prequel to it that I had never read growing up. Mr. Benedict is always like one of my favorites, one of my favorite characters in the series. So getting to see like his childhood explained and his character developed more was lovely. Next, I read Ghost by Reynolds. This is about a boy who starts running competitively while running from his past. It is a middle grade book, and I highly recommend it. It deals with some really sensitive topics, so definitely move with caution, but very, very touching, and definitely written in a way that kids will like want to read, which is hard to achieve for a middle grade author. So Jason Reynolds is killing it. Lots of middle grade this month. Next, I read Nim's Island by Wendy Orr. Yet another childhood favorite. Do you remember this movie? I can't remember who the actors were in it, but I was obsessed with this movie and this book, and I hadn't reread it, and honestly I kind of thought that I had like dreamed the book somehow, so rereading it was quite nice. It was like a one sitting sort of deal. Lovely. So if you ever watched this movie, the book honestly holds up. Next, I read The Mysterious Benedict Society and the Perilous Journey, book 2 in the trilogy, and I don't think I ever actually got past the first one. So I just reread the first one of the series when I was a kid over and over again. So I finally made it through. We're doing it. It's May, and last night I finished the third one. So wait for May to see what I thought of that one. Hint, it was very good. I liked it a lot. Next, I read, and this one slaps, Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This is absolutely exceptional. It's an Arthurian retelling that battles with like blood, grief, intergenerational trauma, black motherhood, power. I just cannot recommend it enough. So hard hitting. Set at, I think, UNC Chapel. This is now 2 months ago that I read this, so I might be incorrect, but it's set at a specific university in the south of the United States, and you could definitely tell that the author went there, had experience there. There's lots of like really small, intimate details that only someone who like had attended there would know, which was really lovely. So just so here's like a little encapsulation line for you to have. My lineages are bound together in inextricable, horrible truths, and there's no untangling them from my destiny, whether I'm ready to face it or not. So definitely a heavy read, but so good, so worth it, amazing. Next, I read Catwings by Ursula K. Le Guin, which was, you guessed it, cute, fun little story about cats with wings. It's a short story, but we love Ursula, our girl. Next, I read Meditations by Franz Kafka. I think that Franz would have been a bit happier if he thought a bit less, which I relate to a lot. I saved a line for you, and it's a long one, so settle in. Also, oh god, I'm seeing this sticker now. This has been on the front of this notebook for a while, and it looks like we are going back, so moving on. That's why the best advice remains: to endure everything, to behave like a ponderous mass, and if you feel you are being blown away, not let yourself be lured into a single unnecessary step, to regard your opposite with the gaze of an animal, to feel no regret, in brief, to suppress with your own hand whatever ghostly remains of life, which means increasing the terminal peace of the grave and letting nothing exist but that. I love you, Franz. I love you, my main man. Next, I read Lace and Lies by Nancy Warren. Yet another lovely like Vampire Knitting Club read. You know I love it. You know we had to do it. I'm chugging through these, and I never seem to run out of them. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm enjoying them while it lasts. Next, I read European Travel for the Monstrous Gentlewoman by Theodore Goss. Really cool, kind of experimental fantasy novel, which is based on loads of classic literary female monsters. Tours all through Europe, has tons of languages, kind of does this weird thing with perspectives. Awesome, but wow, so long. Just a brick of a book. Took me forever. Took me 1,000 years to read. Next, I read The Library of Babel by Jorge Luis Burgess, which, to be a little switcheroo from the last one, super short, very meta short story about hoarding knowledge that created this really beautiful picture in my mind of this library. And I idolized it, and I was like, oh my god, how cool would it be if this was real? And then I realized that I was falling into the same trap that the characters were falling into, and I was like, Jorge, you got me again, buddy. So, especially as someone who's studying to be a librarian, 10 out of 10. Next, I read the short story I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream by Harlan Ellison. Freaky as hell. Harlan can spin a line and is just a weird man who seems to hate women and honestly probably all of humanity and society. Just a weird guy, but short story was good. It was interesting. It was giving, it was giving Clockwork Orange, honestly. Next, another top tier, Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin and Mira. This is hardcore fantasy. We leap in, throws you right in, but it also feels so modern. I believe, and you'll have to check me on this, I think that the woman who wrote this got her start doing Hitalia fan fiction on the internet. So that might lend itself to the modernity of the text, but just, oh my god, so good. Just like a woman love woman, strange the dreamer vibes with like a sexy murder mystery and a necromancer like sort of deal. It's like a million things all at once. It explores religion, explores like trauma. There's so much going on, and it's all so good. Next, Little Weirds by Jenny Slate. Oh my god, I'm obsessed with this. Beautiful and evocative, and just captures this desire to see and be seen and like be perceived and to be loved, and just like the female experience. I had no idea that Jenny Slate could write like this. Two little quick ones. The Winter of Red Snow, The Revolutionary War Diary of Abigail Stewart, Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, 1777 by Christiana Gregory. And then Across the Wide and Lonesome Prairie, The Oregon Trail Diary of Hattie Campbell, 1847, Christiana Gregory as well. These were those Dear America historical diaries. I don't know if any of y'all read these when you were younger, but I ate them up, even though they are gruesome. They're brutal. Within the first 2 pages of the Oregon Trail one, this girl's uncle, he's already dead. He's being brought down river for the funeral in his casket, and then he comes out of the casket. His body comes out of the casket, floats down river, and is run over by a steamboat. And that's how they get to go to the Oregon Trails, because the steamboat driver felt so bad about running over their uncle's body down the river that he's like, I'll take you where you want to go. So, very child-friendly, and I will be recommending to kids everywhere, forever. Alright, so that wraps up March. And now we get to April. Less, I think, in April, so we'll be speeding up here. Baubles and Broomsticks by Nancy Warren. I just love a good vampire knitting club. I listen to them while I'm knitting, so I get through them real quick. I love the audiobooks. I've only ever listened to I've listened to every single one of them, and every wrap-up video I've done, honestly, for the last year and a half, has featured one of these books. So if that's not a recommendation, I don't know what is. Next, Conflict is Not Abuse, Overstating Harm, Community Responsibility, and the Duty of Repair by Sarah Schulman. I feel like I especially am very prone to this. I throw around the words like, this book changed my life, this book changed my mind. This one really did. I came out of reading this and I felt different. I felt like I was going to, while I was reading it, I reevaluated every relationship in my life, the way that I interact with people, the way that I interact with myself. Just so illuminating to me. Definitely a dry start. I tried to read it for the first time last year, and I just could not get through it for the life of me. I couldn't make it through the intro. But once you get past the intro, I tried again, got pounded through it. Let me read you some like really good quotes just so you get a little taste. If there was only one book that I could recommend to anyone forever, it's going to be this book. The values required for social repair are the same required for personal repair. Oh my god, the idea that like activism is so intertwined with your interpersonal relationships is something I'd never thought of before, but third eye open. 5 texts are culturally stigmatized as excessive, but they only cover about a minute or 2 of conversation, and people need interactive conversations, even short ones, in order to understand each other. It is unreasonable to expect other people to interpret our silences. And then this one is one of my favorite ones. The unrecovered traumatized person's refusal is rooted in the panic that their fragile self can't bear interrogation, that whatever it is keeping them together is not flexible. You finish this book, you close it, and you're like, okay, I need to like sit for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and just really like soak this in. Next, I read Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. I finally got around to watching this movie, and so I obviously had to reread the book. Really good. She killed it. It's Agatha. What are you gonna do? Next, I read Poison for Breakfast by Lemony Snicket. Just the kookiest little mystery ever. This is a line that I read, and I had to like I had a physical reaction to it. Like, it like took my breath away, because it was something that I think about so frequently, and something that I really like was, I don't know, it resonated with me on such a level. So it's someone is expressing to the narrator, how frantic would you feel to find your child's pillowcase in a dark alley? And so Lemony, narrator, we're assuming it's Lemony, says, I could imagine this, so I always stopped to make sure I hadn't dropped anything in the alley that would make anyone frantic if they found it. And that like hit so hard with how I try to live my life. Next, I read Mooncakes by Wendy Zhu and Susanna Walker. Super sweet queer graphic novel. Loved the art style, story, the disability rep, just generally quite lovely. Quick read, in and out. And finally, y'all, I read Bell Hooks so much. I'm so sad that she's dead. All About Love by Bell Hooks. The way that this woman thought about life and the human experience, she just thought about it in a way that cuts to the heart of like the human soul, and we're so lucky that she shared her thoughts with us, because it really, I feel like my life is infinitely improved every time I finish reading one of her works. A lot of self-help this month, so I don't know if what that says about where I'm at. I mean, I know what that says about where I'm at, and I'm sure you do too, but we'll not talk about it. Some quality lines, because you know I love a good quote. We can find the love our hearts long for, but not until we let go grief about the love we lost long ago when we were little and had no voice to speak the heart's longing. Another one. And another one. When we hear another person's thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, it's more difficult to project onto them our perceptions of who they are. At times, women find it difficult to hear what many men have to say when they tell us what they tell us does not conform to our fantasies of who they are or who we want them to be. And then this one's the big hit. This is like, I'm painting this on my bedroom wall someday. Growing up is at heart the process of learning to take responsibility for whatever happens in your life. And that's the end of that journal, and the end of this video. I really hope that you got some good recommendations out of this one, because I've had a killer last 2 months of reading, so especially The Conflict Is Not Abuse and All About Love. If you don't read anything else from this, read those. I hope you guys are doing really well. I hope you're staying safe. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.